The Tokyo Metropolitan Gymnasium, site of the World Championships in 2011, and amazingly, the site of the '64 Summer Olympics. And today, the site for the 8 best teams that survived qualifying to reach this team final. Al Trautwig along with Elfie Schlegel and Olympic gold medalist Tim Daggett. As things start out, the Japanese will try to get this crowd involved early. On the floor exercise to be followed by the United States. 6 rotations, 6 apparatus. Japan qualified first, then the United States, who did some surprising things on the pommel horse, and then China, not normally up to their dazzling speed. But all those scores get erased now, and we start things off with Japan on the floor exercise.
And you said it, a superhero, a god, they apply. He is royalty in gymnastics. Actually, though, a very scary moment occurred in preparation for these World Championships at the podium training. He was going through his routine, Kohei was, and all of a sudden, right after this pass, right here, he just took a few steps, stopped, got off the floor, tried to remount it a little bit later, couldn't do that. He told me that he had rolled his ankle a couple months earlier, and what happened is his calves, both of them, they went into a complete cramp, and he said it hasn't happened in a while, but it did.
And you wouldn't know by what happened that day in training that this is the same athlete, but this is typical. He gets out on the competition floor and he just does what he has been doing so well for the past few years. He's just simply awesome.
Japan has not won the team title since 1978. Tim, you know what it's like to win big things in front of the home crowd. So does it help or does it hurt?
Well, you know, interestingly, I asked Kohei, does he feel more pressure with this being in Japan? And he said, no, absolutely not. I don't at all. But I kind of don't know if I believe him. Because it is a little bit more pressure, I think. The expectations are that much higher. He's already the best gymnast in the world. He's proved that the last 2 World Championships. But now he gets to prove it once again, not only for himself as an individual, but to defeat the Chinese, who have won, you know, the last handful of world team titles.
Talk to any of the other gymnasts who watch this guy in trainings or even competition. I know Jonathan Horton has spoken of this many times. He just cannot believe how this guy goes out each and every time and is so perfect in his execution.
We'll get Uchimura's score. Now, Marius Daniel Bervikar, 6 athletes per team, 3 on each event. So there are specialists involved, and you keep all the scores. So a major mistake is a major mistake.
So he's going to do a handspring triple front here. Oh my gosh. Wow. So his right hand, it completely slipped on the table there. Watch, he's leaning too far forward, and it just actually, both his hands
slid right off.
And that, he bails out of the triple front, only does 2 complete revolutions, lands on his butt. And I got to tell you, Al, this is potentially terminal for Romania, because there is a rule in gymnastics that says if you don't hit feet first, it's a 0.
Uchimura gets a 15.466. A 0.
A 0, yeah. It's, I mean, I don't know what they're...
And there it is.
And, wow.
That just about ends their championships.
No, that ends their championships, because that would have been 15-5 or higher. And you cannot make up 15 points in a gymnastics event. They are 8th in the world.
Well, we have to talk more about that. Here's Tong Hai Bin as the Chinese start on pommel horse.
And he's good. Gold medalist in 2004.
Yeah, at these World Championships, we have all these Olympic champions from 2004.
Yeah, he kind of disappeared after that.
Little bit, but China has some incredible pommel horse specialists. The 2 best pommel horse workers in the world, neither of them made the trip here to Japan, just not good enough when you factor in how they'll help the team.
Well, this score was good enough for 15-3, I should say, in this routine in the qualification round.
And this is a great exercise so far. Gonna bring in a very big score for China on the pommel horse.
And now, while that was happening, Denis Alyazin of Russia still rings.
Now, you know, an interesting thing that has occurred at these World Championships, both China, who we just saw, and Russia here, they have done what really, I don't think it's right. At this World Championships and the last one, for the first time, they said that from qualifying to the team finals, you can take your reserve athlete and move them into the competition if there's an injury. But there's no way to verify if these athletes are injured. I think they just made changes in the lineup. And I don't know, a little sneaky, I'd have to say. And this was a good routine.
Big step on the dismount for Alyazin of Russia. He gets a 15. And China puts up a 15.233 for Tang Haiben. But Romania gets a 0. We're just getting started. The best gymnasts in the world might be asking, are we taking on Team USA or are we just taking on the Oklahoma Sooners? 4 of the 6 from the United States have Sooner ties, and here's one of them, Jonathan Horton, a 2-time national champion.
And Team USA actually in the qualification round was the highest scoring team on this event, on floor exercise.
And they can actually be even a little bit better here, believe it or not. Jonathan is excellent on floor, but the next 2 athletes, Jacob Dalton and Stephen Legendre, are world-class and final material. Legendre made the finals, and Dalton is sitting in the first reserve position. And, you know, from the qualifying, you pick the event finalists and also the all-around finalists, and there's a 2 per country rule. So even though Jonathan Horton was 5th, he does not get to advance to the all-around finals. John Araska and Danil Leyva will be the 2 Americans in there. John was the bronze medalist at the 2010 Worlds in the all-around.
You know, Tim, John said he was disappointed by that result, but he maintains that what he really wants out of these championships is to be on top of the podium with his teammates. That's really what is most important to him.
He leaves the floor with a triumphant fist.
It was a very good start. You know, definitely had some deductions, a little bit of hops here and there, but a good, strong start. Very tricky pass here. Right into a full twisting 1 3/4 somersault. Actually, the Japanese lost a gymnast halfway through round 1 on that exact same skill. A little bit of form, as you can see, those knees apart. And just these hops on the landing. It'll cost them a little bit, but like I said, a good, strong start for Team USA.
You would think with all the advancements in technology, they would have moved past safety pins to attach the competition number.
They still do it.
Hey, Don. Let's go, Steve! Don, you got
Sometimes if your gymnast has made you a little bit mad in the warm-up or whatever, you jab that pin right into their back a little bit, of course, by accident.
I don't think any of them want to take the time to sew their numbers on.
How about Velcro, Elfie? Ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Now, the Germans, they start things off on the pommel horse, and this is the crucible apparatus, isn't it? Philip Boy of Germany. Can they challenge?
Well, everybody thought they could, but they were really not good at all in the qualifying round. They just did not perform well. And Philip Boy, he fell off on this piece of apparatus, and afterwards he was completely out of sorts, had no idea what happened.
Just had a little better than a 13 on this event. But you're right, Tim, last year at the World Championships, this was the team that was 3rd. Philip was 2nd.
In the all-around,
surprised everyone.
This one's going pretty well, though. Oh, and that right there, that dismount is potentially a huge deduction, up to a point or more.
Jonathan Horton starts off with a 14.966. And now to Steve Legendre from Port Jefferson, New York, on the North Shore of Long Island, and yes, the University of Oklahoma.
And he has been a two-time world finalist.
Never showed his stuff, though. Never showed it in the event finals, and he has another chance to do it here in Tokyo.
3 times now after.
They could use a big set right here.
Watch this. Very hard. This floor is very bouncy as it is, and he just makes it look crazy. Anybody else in the world, when they're doing these 2 tumbling passes that he just did, would have been really digging in to just get it around, but for Steve, it's easy. Routine just goes on forever. You see him glance over there. You have to complete your exercise by 70 seconds. He wanted to know how much time he had in this corner.
Exhausting.
Wow.
Steve says he loves the rush of flipping.
Yeah. Says I am an adrenaline junkie.
Head down, Philip Boy, 13.166. That is so hard to absorb a score like that, if not impossible.
So what they did is they took the whole dismount away, in my estimation, and that was as good as a fall for Germany. Not a good way to start.
Let's go, Jake.
15.566, and Jake is Jake Dalton, another Sooner, and the NCAA's reigning vault and floor exercise champion.
I don't know if we'll see a higher score than what we just saw right there. The entire competition on floor exercise. That is a very, very big number.
This is one of the reasons why Jake was selected to this team for those 2 events, floor exercise and vault.
What a confidence builder for the United States to start on floor.
With these 2 guys, no question. Jake is so clean on floor exercise. He does exactly what you're supposed to do. He makes everything look easy. Do the tough stuff, but make it look like it's easy. That is the essence of the sport of gymnastics. Another fantastic routine here. Look at the landings. Now one more pass to end an exhausting routine. This is a triple twist backwards. Oh, beautiful form and just a slight hop forward. That was tremendous. And you see Coach Mark Williams, one of the coaches on the floor, and also the head coach at the University of Oklahoma.
Well, this is what Jake does so well. He pays attention to the details, as you mentioned, Tim. He's just an aesthetic gymnast, very clean lines, very pretty to watch on this event. And did a really great job with most of his tumbling landings. Just a slight hop there on this final tumbling pass.
And look at the toes pointed, feet perfectly together. The third one around, tries to spot that floor. He sees it and just a little under-rotated. Has to take that 1/10 hop forward.
So the United States 3 for 3 in their first rotation. And for Apparatus, and use at the same time. While that was happening, this is what Igor Radivillov did for Ukraine.
They have thus far done a great job at these World Championships. Very, very difficult vault. It's actually called a Dragulescu, named after a great Romanian gymnast.
Who's also here.
Who is also here.
But not competing in the team competition today.
So a great score there. Jake Dalton gets a 15.5. So consistent throughout floor exercise. The U.S. moves to the second rotation.
We love ordering.
The United States moves to the big test at the pommel horse, where they did some outstanding things in qualifying. Second, can they do it again? Here are the standings after the first of 6 rotations. Ukraine leading for now. Their depth, of course, will be tested. Then Japan is in third, and then Russia 1.8 back.
But that's going to change, because vaulting on the men's side, by far the highest scoring event.
This is Vitaly Nakonichny.
But, you know, for the Ukrainians, already this competition is a huge victory, because not only is this a World Championships, but this is where you qualify for the Olympic Games, something they have not done of late. You make the team finals, you finish in the top 8, you get to send a full team to the Olympic Games 10 months down the road. There's a little bit of an error. But they really have done a great job.
Rebuilding.
Yeah.
That routine in preliminaries was a 14.566.
Don't know if it's going to get to that point today, but
one of the reasons John Orozco is on Team USA is about to unfold in the next 90 seconds or so.
yeah, for the last number of years, the USA has really struggled on the pommel horse, and this young kid, he is fantastic here. Does some of these scissor moves as well as anybody in the world, right up to a handstand. And then he swings with a very straight body. A little bit off there, though. Again, a little bit of a form separation. Dismount, flies up to a handstand.
The kid from the Bronx.
Yeah.
His father works for the sanitation department, found a flyer in the garbage for a gym in Manhattan, as the story goes, and a gymnastics career was born. Nakonichny at 13.966. That will definitely put a big dent in the Ukraine lead. And Orozco gets a 14.433. And I guess, Tim, we always need to have to put these scores in perspective. How is that?
Not as good as he's capable of. He scored 15 even in the qualifying round, so that is 0.5 of a point that Team USA just gave away there, but not a disaster by any means.
Alexander Nadur from a gymnastics family and another Oklahoma Sooner.
And he's here for this reason alone, just pommels.
That's it. That's all he did in the qualifying, and that's all he's doing right here.
At a 15.233 in the qualification round.
Beautiful work. Oh, just slightly hits his legs, and they come apart just a bit. But he's very square, too. His body stays positioned correctly to the pommel horse. If it doesn't, it can get big deductions, but that is a big routine.
It's been a
for
long
Team
time
USA,
since we've seen this confidence from this team, especially on this event.
That's what it is.
Look at this. It's a full twisting kier. Very difficult. And then he just camps out on this one pommel. All this stuff, very difficult to do.
And one of the 8 nations to qualify is Korea. Pyongyang.
This is crazy. Oh, jeez. Only one in the world right there that is capable of pulling that off.
His score in qualification, a 16.430.
And look at, he just is shot out of a cannon.
Gosh, it's fast in the replay.
And 3 times around, nobody in the world has been able to pull this off until this young man right here. We saw this on YouTube a handful of months ago, and everybody in the U.S. was like, what is going on?
What is going on is the highest score we've seen.
Wow.
16.833 with a step.
That score, he actually could have scored a 17.4. It's the highest rated vault there is.
Alexander Nadur, a 15.058 for the United States. We'll check the scores, the Chinese and the Russians next. The World Championships continuing in Tokyo. This is Yang Mingyang. He was the alternate, was he not?
Yes, he was. And with that rule, they put him on the team, which it's, I don't know, a little bit iffy, but...
Well, one of the reasons why he's on this team is perhaps the fact that he can score in the 16s on this event.
Well, that's potential. He's a world champion himself on the still rings. And the guy that's after him is a world champion and an Olympic champion. So the Chinese were not great on rings in the first day of competition. Rock solid. Nowadays, to get a big score on rings, being strong, it doesn't even come close to cutting it. You have got to be superhuman strong, and both of these last 2 Chinese are exactly that. They are monsters. And a great landing. And that will help China a lot.
And now Japan's main man, Kohei Uchimura. We've got some hairstyles to talk about today, don't we?
He's actually
That's
cut
been
his
his
hair,
look.
I think. It's a little shorter.
You mentioned, Al, that in the qualification day, he scored in the 15s on every single apparatus. This was a 15.433.
Again, this is moments ago. This was happening simultaneously to what we just watched.
And not only has he, of course, qualified to the all-around finals, but he made 5 of the 6 event finals here in Japan. Wow. And just like he always does, man, he is, you know, he's closing in on maybe getting close to the greatest of all time.
First score under 15. And Yan of China gets a 14.966. Is that enough for that substitution or not?
I'll tell you, that's a little lower than, and you can see it on his face right there. That's lower than I thought he would get, and I'm sure they're a little surprised with that. I don't remember what I just called Yang Mingyang. Like
Strong.
a monster. Well, this guy, he's like the alien. He's the alien strong guy.
3-time world championship gold medalist on this event. Plus, Tim mentioned,
Oh, it's impossible. You see, there's a couple in the world that can do that element, but nobody like Jenny Ping.
See, aliens can do that, Tim.
They can. You know, you watch that movie and this little alien picks up this big, huge guy and throws him across the room. He's alien strong. Beautiful swing to a handstand.
Kenny Bing makes it look so smooth, too, doesn't he?
Wow.
Across the room, Anton Golotsuskov of Russia.
He's an Olympic medalist on this vault. The event vault. Double pike. Super hard. Not quite as good as Anton is capable of doing. Had a few extra steps. You see the shake of the head there. So this vault is called a Sukahara, named after the great Mitsuo Sukahara from Japan, but he adds a complete extra backflip. I'm sure Sukahara is somewhere in the crowd today, and he's looking at that. And if he said, if I had to think about doing that, standing at the end of the runway and doing that, I don't know if I'd vault.
And you know, the Russians were the best on this event in the qualification day.
There's a score that'll help them out. A huge one, 16.258. Chenny Bing, a 15.466 on the still rings. That does it for the second rotation. We'll update the scores after this.
Thursday.
After the second rotation in Tokyo, the United States remains on the podium. It was costly for Ukraine, first to fourth. And you have to figure Japan and China still have some major statements to make. We'll start things off with the Russians, who have to like the way things have gone so far.
But if you're looking at the team score, you really can't give it much credence until everybody has gone to vaulting, because it's like a 2-point swing from the other events. It is by far the highest scoring event, and Russia has already done vault. That's one of the main reasons they're in that position right now.
This is Sergei Karakordin.
Little bit low on that release element. Opens up the door for some potential deductions. And I'll tell you, this Russian men's gymnastics team, they came to Tokyo and they're a lot more disciplined than they have been of late. They look a little bit more focused. They had a period of time where you just never really knew what you could expect from them.
Here's China looking to make up some ground on the vault. Zhang Xingong.
And they can certainly do that. He has a beautiful look in the air. Oh, it's so hard.
But very sloppy. His legs are a little bit bent. Hard angle to see that from.
That vault is a 17-0 maximum.
Back to the Japanese leader, Kohei Uchimura.
He actually got a very high score in the qualifying. If there was one event that I would have said he's not superhuman, it was still rings, but he's improved there, which makes him really unstoppable unless he falls.
And that score was a 15.233.
How about from the world of drama, the Japanese are the second half of the final rotation, and guess where it's going to be? High bar.
Fun times. He has gotten stronger. That inverted cross a lot better, more level. You know, Japan, they have a very good shot of taking this whole team championships. It did get a little bit of a blow when Tanaka went down. The Japanese coaches had felt that he was the difference and what would inevitably give them the opportunity to defeat China.
Karakordin at 14.70.
So remember, this score was out of 17, so he lost almost 0.7 of a point. That's a big number, though.
We stay with the Chinese men on the vault.
There you see the D difficulty 7.0.
Feng Zhe.
Capable of a 17. That's the highest he can score on this event.
Same vault. Very nicely done. Just a little bit low on the landing.
I would love to know how many viewers viewers out there really have a grasp of what these scores mean. 15.000.
That's a little bit frustrating for certain.
David Belyevsky.
One of the newcomers to this team.
And really, it's been that new blood with a few older guys that have enabled Russia to create this momentum and get back into world-class gymnastics. Nice dismount. Oh, wow. That was spectacular. Super hard dismount. A double front in that pike position. Blind landing. Wow.
Stuck it.
Yeah, that was great.
Another big score for China. 16.3. Imagine without the step.
Yeah, it's crazy, huh? That might have been a little high, to be honest. But both of those guys could have been a little bit high. But you just saw a great routine on parallel bars, and you see it's 1 point less than the vaulting score. And that's a very strong score on parallel bars.
Now to the American from the Bronx. It was a huge move for John Orozco to leave home and go to Colorado Springs and train with Team USA. But it was the next logical step for him. How is he on still rings? Can he be spectacular?
Well, this is not his best event. His better events come a little bit later, but he's actually improved quite a bit. He's gotten a lot stronger. You see that nice position right there, and he holds it for a good 2 seconds.
Well, it was one of those events that he could train a little bit more after he tore his Achilles, spent a little bit more time on rings.
Oh, and that's a little shaky. That's gonna, and that also, he's gonna get a little bit of deductions on both of those elements. A little bit shaky. He was so good in day one.
He actually said he was very proud of himself.
Yeah, he did.
He's never said that before.
And we've watched this man grow up with the German gymnastics program, Fabian Hambuchen.
And we're talking a lot about Achilles. He also tore his Achilles. This is his first major meet back. And he is capable of a lot more than that, but I don't know if you could see it when he's running. He's still limping when he's running at this point. But
it takes a long time not only to come back, Tim, and you can speak to this, but to have faith in the structure of the body.
Absolutely. You're always in the back of your mind. You're just wondering if you're just one more landing away from it going again, or a lot of athletes are wondering if the other one's going to go, because you just naturally, you favor it a little bit.
But still putting up really great scores for this German team.
And they have been judging harshly on still rings. Just ask John Orozco, 14.166. Fair or unfair?
Well, he had some errors in that routine. He was much better day one.
Now let's see how the veteran Jonathan Horton can fare. What are the chances these are the 6 men to represent the U.S. next year in the Olympics?
Well, the only problem is it isn't 6 at the Olympic Games next year.
Right.
It is 5. So somebody is certainly going to be left at home or
Could
in
be
the
a
alternate
specialist too.
position. Yes, no question about it. Where John really sets himself apart as an all-around gymnast is his tremendous strength on the still rings. Very strong. Ever since he was a little kid, I remember seeing him. He was just this little guy, like 13 years old at a junior meet. And he did that move right there. He did that back prize to a Maltese, and I said, that is not right. How is this kid so strong?
It's always been the one event where he's been really sure of himself.
Yep.
He's been very, very consistent here.
He's this generation's Blaine Wilson, isn't he?
Yeah, very true. Big dismount, 2 flips, 2 twists, double-double. Well, usually does a better job with landing. That step right there, that'll cost him 3/10 of a point.
While that was happening, Ukraine sent Vitaly Nagonechny to the high bar. They started in first, they dropped to fourth after the second rotation.
Very difficult release, a little bit sloppy in the air. He'll do another one right here. You'll see a little bit later from some of the Americans and certainly the Japanese. They'll do those releases, but they will be impeccably performed. Perfect with no leg separation.
He certainly has that look that lends itself well on an event like high bar.
His dismount here. You know, if you only do a full twisting double layout, you got to stick the landing, because I'm sure he's capable of doing at least one more twist on that.
14.8, so we don't really have a team that is storming through the competition just yet. We've seen some great scores, but every team has had their moments. Jonathan Horton gets a 15.066 as Team USA tries to stay part of the podium picture. That's going to do it for rotation 3, and that means these World Championships and the men's team final have essentially come to halftime. We'll update the standings and move along to the 4th rotation. More from the Americans after this. The shuffling continues after the 3rd rotation. It is Russia, China, then Korea, but very tight between Korea and Japan. The United States off the podium for now. What happened on the still rings was not good. On we go now for the United States. On the vault, Stephen Legendre.
This is a big vault. Had problems in the qualifying round, but just gets that to his feet, which means that he is going to score in the 16s. If you land this vault, and you saw the USA was way down in the team standings, they will not be there after this event. They will move up considerably.
How can it still be above 16, which in the world of gymnastics now is a huge number with steps after the landing like those?
Well, what it comes down to is, you know, the code of points, it's inequitable. Vaulting, it's just the standards. It's much easier to get a higher score. If you do a hard vault, you get a higher score. That's all there is to it.
Let's go, Jake.
Great score for the United States. As you mentioned earlier, Tim and Elfie, the scoring on the vault, 16.16. Here's Jonathan Horton.
Jonathan was over a 16 in the qualification round. He's capable of that again.
Same vault.
Oh!
Oh, and that's too bad. Wow. That hurts. You know, not only does it hurt physically, because it does, but when his hands go down, and more importantly, his knees, that is a full point on the landing alone. So although Team USA has been good today, and they were very good in the qualifying, they've given that's a point he gave away right there.
And he knows it. 15.266. Ukraine, once the leaders, now on floor exercise. Their anchor man here is Mykola Koksenkov.
And he was actually 4th to Jonathan Horton in the all-around at the 2010 World Championships.
A lot of personality.
Yeah.
Came to the American Cup this past year.
Speaks great English.
Several languages, actually.
Yeah.
His father was a coach in Belgium for a few years.
His father is coaching him. I talked to him about some of the challenges of coaching your son, and he said, "Don't get me started." He doesn't do the hardest gymnastics, but he really works very well. He's very confident. Shows things off.
His dad said one of the strengths about his gymnastics is psychologically he's very stable.
And he is only going to get better and better. Triple twist at the end. A nice job.
Seems satisfied with that. Well, we don't know yet what's going to happen to Team USA off that Jonathan Horton score here, because as the fourth rotation continues, we'll see Russia, China, Japan.
Nice laid out 1 3/4 somersault. There's a lot of talk in Japan that those skills should be barred. I personally think they should be. It's no place to be rolling out of skills like that.
Dangerous?
I think it's extremely dangerous, and you know, we had the Japanese gymnast almost really get hurt badly.
And that comes from a man who coaches his son. That's a challenge, Tim Daggett.
This boat.
The World Championships for the men, it's a team competition. Gold, silver, and bronze will be awarded here. And certainly this crowd wants to see Japan rock it later on the high bar. But they need to get into position to make sure that high bar makes a gold medal attainable.
And you know, for Uchimura, the only place he wasn't phenomenal in day one of the qual. I love that. He always lines it up.
Would he actually move his feet, though?
I don't know. But the only place he wasn't incredible was vault. He had a fall there. But this is a totally different vault. And pretty darn well done.
Yeah, huge improvements. He only had a 15.2 in qualification.
Well, he's going with a vault that has 4/10 less in start value, but
so pretty.
I don't. Okay, where are you getting deductions here? That's 1/10 of a point, that hop. So the maximum he can get here is a 16.6. That was beautiful.
Well, Tim, they found 4/10 of a point.
They're crazy. They're crazy. It's not right.
16.2. Sergei Korokordin. Russia wants to hold on to what they've got. Second half of the fourth rotation.
They've really done a tremendous job here today. They don't do as many of the crazy high-flying releases as some of the other teams. Here's his first release. Conservative at this level. He will do one major release right here. Nicely done.
The next gymnast on parallel bars is Hai-Bing Ten, representing China.
Well, he hit day one, and he does again day two.
But Tim, sort of conservative.
It is a conservative routine, and you know, when you look at some of the other teams, that's the way they go. You can gain some big points.
And there you see the number we reported earlier for Uchimura. They love that here, and that will help Japan move into position. The Chinese men are on the parallel bars, and this is Tong Hai-bin. Are they still on a post-Beijing hangover, or are they just really continued for what they built there?
Well, you know, I don't know how you couldn't be, because they were so dominant. It was out of control how much they dominated the 08 games in Beijing.
That's what they were built for.
Yeah.
And this was an apparatus in the first day of qualification that they owned, the strongest as a team on parallel bars.
Oh, this is their best event.
Oh.
And that is a huge error. Falling on the apparatus is a half a point in deductions, and then you got form on top of that. And I don't think you give them that element, which means you lose another, I think it's 4/10 of a point right there. So that opens the door just a little bit for Japan.
Well, we have a couple of doors opening here. One opened by China and one by Russia. That is the second score in the 14s that they'll have to absorb on the high bar.
But you know, he's not capable of doing much better than that. That's the exact score he got in the qualifying round. That's just as good as he is. That's it.
Yamamuro, can the Japanese go through that door?
Oh, that was fantastic. That was great. There's one of
He knows it too, Tim.
There's one of your 17.0 start value vaults.
We got a 16.4 in the first day.
Now I can see deductions on him. You know, his legs came apart from the board to the table. You see right there? But Uchimura didn't have that. This vault starts 4/10 higher than Uchimura's vault. Legs are apart right there. You see that. So I can see them with that step. I don't know. Finding 5/6 of a point. Because that was a 3/10 step. No question about that. But it was a great, powerful vault.
So then how do you feel about a 16.4?
Well,
they got it right this time.
Equaled the first day.
Tung Hai Bin gets a 14.166.
And that is very damaging.
Yeah, especially because he had a 15.1. So that's a full point lower than what he had in the first day.
Feng Jia.
And he is fantastic on this event. World champion on parallel bars. His routine, it goes on for days.
This is what the Chinese do so well, all these acrobatic skills above the P-bars.
Little bit of a leg separation. Very nice. It's just such a pounding routine on your body. You're flying through the airs and you're slamming your upper arms down on the bars over and over again. He's got some pads on there, but
does it really help?
Every time it's That was very good, very good.
They really needed that, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
I think he told him he did a good job chalking the bars for him.
Yeah. Look at this, though. Bam, right on those arms. And that's the lowest release that he does. It's just the nature of the skill. Watch this. He'll do a full spin now, or a peach to a Diamondov. He can do this dismount better. I've seen him do it much better and actually, obviously, land better.
There'll be some major shuffling in the standings, which we'll check after this, as Japan goes to the parallel bars and China tries to fly high. The Japanese men move to the 5th rotation on the parallel bars. They're in exactly the position they want to be in this World Championship home game. A team final that Japan has not won since 1978, but it's close. Russia's just a hop behind. Then China, and then the United States just off the podium looking in. The U.S. will be coming up in a few minutes also on the parallel bars. We'll start things off with China and Tung Hai Bin. It is not good what happened to China in the last rotation.
Yeah, they opened the door quite a bit, you know, and actually this guy right here falling on that under bar skill, probably costing his team at least a point off in deductions.
Well, and he wasn't great here in the team qualification round as well, only scoring a 13.53 on high bar.
This is a routine that is very strategic. He doesn't do any of the major releases, but he does combinations like this one right here. Not very exciting, but unfortunately, with the rules, you can really manipulate them sometimes, and you can have a a very boring and mediocre routine, it can bring in a pretty good number.
And it just never translates well to the audience because they don't relate to those types of skills. They can't see the difficulty. They can relate to the high-flying skills.
Well, that was very clean and very good, but it's not, you know, by today's standards, it's not hard enough.
This is Yusuke Tanaka of Japan, one of 2 Tanakas on the Japanese team. You want to see scared? You want to see dangerous? Check this out in qualifying.
This is one of those rollout skills. He's under-rotated on the first skill, and jeez.
Just an ugly way to land.
Too dizzy to even continue. He could not. So this is our first look at him in the team final.
Well, thank God he didn't continue because it could have been catastrophic. Only doing 2 events in the team finals, parallel bars and high bar, he would have done far more had that accident not occurred. But once again, here's my shout out to the FIG. Those skills, they should be banned. Many in Japan say this young man is the heir apparent to Kohei Uchimura. Has the same lightness about him. Makes everything look just so smooth and effortless.
Hey, and this is a family affair for this athlete. Not only is his brother on this team, but his sister was representing Japan at these World Championships.
Here's a question for you. Once something that scary happens, how do you ever do it again?
Yeah, you know, I mean, oh, look at him shaking his neck around there.
And the tape, tape.
He has a concussion from what we've been told. So it was, you know, very iffy whether he would even be competing here. His dad did tell Japanese press prior to the competition that he would compete, though.
Russia's on the floor exercise. This is David Belyavsky. Remember the separation, first to second, .07.
And this is radical, this mount. It is crazy hard.
He can score around 15 if he does his thing.
Double full in, pike out. Only a handful of gymnasts have ever done that. Well, you see that roll out, and that was fine, you know? But every single one of these guys has done a tumbling pass like that, and they've landed under-rotated. Doesn't matter how good you are, sometimes you under-rotate a landing on floor. You do it on a landing that goes to your feet, you sting your ankles a little bit. You do it on a landing that goes to your head, sometimes you end up paralyzed. There was a pretty big mistake, probably 0.6 of a point. So that is not good. And then not one, but 2 hops. The first one a 3/10 hop, the second one 1/10 of a point. That had a huge potential for score, but not going to be great.
Shanghai Bin, 15.1.
Which is a very strong number. Well-constructed routine, as I said.
And Yusuke Tanaka, 15.333. Back to the man, Kohei Uchimura.
He is fantastic here, like he is everywhere else. Big test right there. We'll see major release right here, extremely well. That is as good as I've ever seen anyone do it, as is that. He doesn't rush through. He takes his time to show off these elements, always maintaining a beautiful body line. It's just exhausting. Watch the dismount. Oh.
She's tough.
Yeah, that's...
He leaves everyone wondering, how does he do this time and time again?
And historically, he is such a great lander, you know? It's like we've seen some great routines, but...
Just so cat-like. He just knows how to plant his feet.
And Belyevsky gets heavily deducted, 14.433. Remember, they were trailing by less than a tenth. And now Zhou Kai of China.
He, of course, a triple gold medalist at the last Olympic Games in Beijing. He won this event as well. A lot of people, myself included, though, thought that silver medalist Jonathan Horton got a little bit robbed. This guy does hard stuff in combinations like this. But his form, just look at his toes right there. They're a little bit flexed. I mean, it's incredibly difficult. But there are errors in this exercise. But a super high start score and a stuck landing, that's going to be a big number.
Uchimura, another score above 15. That's where he's been living, 15.366. And Zhou Kai is also going to get a big number, 15.933. We'll see if the Americans can get back on the podium after this as the World Championships continue in Tokyo. Team final at the 2011 World Championships. Al Troutwig, Tim Daggett, Elfie Schlegel. This is John Orozco getting some major great experience to set himself up for a possible appearance representing the United States in London at next year's Olympics.
And you know, he's been a little bit clunky today. He's not as great because he was fantastic day one. But this is where he can really do a beautiful exercise. And then high bar, he's great as well.
The United States needs every tenth. They were in fourth coming into this rotation.
Beautiful job so far. This is excellent. And like Uchimura, this guy is one of the best landers.
Yeah.
I know it. Right there. Bang.
This exercise better than day one for John.
Yeah, no question about that.
And now quickly to Oleg Vernayev.
That scissor right there. When you bend in your hips like that, when you pause like that, that really opens the door for the judges to deduct.
Tim, you said that Ukraine had their win in the first rotation. And even before that.
Yeah, they did. When they placed in the top 8, made the team finals here, that punched their ticket to London for the 2012 Olympic Games, and that was their absolute priority coming in here. 4 more teams can qualify, but that'll happen at a different competition, and nobody wanted to go to that.
Back to the Americans. Elfie, should he be happy with a 15.233?
Yes, very happy. He did his job, and it was better than in the first day of competition.
Now Jonathan Horton.
His last event, he landed short on that vault, stung those ankles a little bit. But John is one of the primary reasons that Team USA doesn't just think, but believes that they can not just win a medal, but they can challenge the very best in the world, China and Japan. USA came in second after day one. John immediately after the competition said, we are a much better team final team. 3 up, 3 count, and pretty good landing there.
Yeah, he looked extremely determined.
Yeah, that was a great
that routine.
That was a great routine. 2 big sets from Team USA.
Verniayev gets hit hard. That won't help. 13.866. A little tap on the shoulder as if to say there'll be another day.
Yeah.
Fabian Hambuchen of Germany.
This is where Fabian is fantastic.
Well, I tell you, the Germans, they shocked themselves day one, and they have not been able to right the ship. Now watch this combination. Beautiful release skill. A little bit close to the bar. But this is where it gets real tricky. And now here into another one. Super hard. Talked about all these athletes and their injuries. He also recovering from a torn Achilles, not back to full strength. But on high bar,
yeah, he looks it here.
It's like he never left.
The Germans trying to leave on a high note. That's a step in that direction. Back to the Americans after posting a 15. Jonathan Horton gets set for the high bar that's coming up. The United States will have a great seat for what Japan tries to do. They'll be up first, though, the Americans. And here's our first look at Danel Leyva, the national champion of the United States.
And he has a totally different style. He is one of the world's best on this event because of moves like that. Nobody does it like that. Just gorgeous work. Now, little bit off on that, but just beautiful under bar work. He doesn't do any of those releases because he's so good he doesn't have to. Dismount. Small hop on the landing, but that should be a very, very big score. And parallel bars was a slam dunk for Team USA.
Leyva was born in Cuba. The family left via South America to Miami, and then he went on to become a U.S. national champion. Russia was in front of the United States. There could be a change in the standings. The computers do their thing. We'll do ours and check those standings after this.
This guy is Donnie Holt.
We've come down to what could be an explosive finish in the men's team final of the 2011 World Gymnastics Championships. Here's Danel Leyva in warm-up. And Tim, what happens when something like this happens right before you compete?
Well, this actually is probably what he planned on doing. He often will do that release and just toss it a little bit away from the bar. He knows where to put it. It's almost easier sometimes.
China still in front by 0.6 over Japan, then Russia, and it's about 0.2 between Russia and the United States. The U.S. will go first on the high bar, then Japan.
So really, there look to be 2 different battles here right now. It's the battle for the gold and the battle for the bronze. Team USA, though, on high bar. Russia on pommel horse, which is a much lower scoring event. If USA can get the job done, they have one of the best high bar teams, if not the best, 3-up, 3 count in the world.
John, of course, did his job in the first day of qualification. He has qualified to event finals on this event.
Combination, very nicely done. Big routine, big landing.
You would think this kid's been at a world championship before, wouldn't you?
Yeah. You know, it's like the American team have come up with a nickname for him. They made it up. They call him a Slinja. because he's a silent ninja. Doesn't get too emotional, just goes up there and gets the job done.
And I think part of that is having been in Japan before. They competed here in July at the Japan Cup, and he was very confident, very happy with how things went there. And I think there's a sense of comfort coming back.
Well, that's what he told me. He said he wanted to make it feel just like the Japan Cup.
Let's go, John.
15.366. They like it on the Team USA bench. His day is done. Jonathan Horton is almost there.
But he has got a heck of a lot to get through on this exercise. As we said, some of the athletes, they form this routine that, you know, it's intricate, and so it has a hard high start value. John's routine is just crazy.
But it can be better than he was in the first day.
Yes.
Much better.
Here we go. Oh. Another big one. He's not done.
Wow, exciting stuff.
Absolutely fantastic routine thus far by John. And wow.
How much different is this routine than the one that took silver in Beijing?
It's a lot the same in many ways, but John is actually capable of doing a dismount with 2 more twists than that. And if he had made high bar finals, I think he would have done that.
Yeah, this one's for the team, though. Making sure he puts his feet right on the ground.
Thank you, Lord.
Yeah, there is, with those 2 high bar routines, if Leyva just stays on the bar, I'm thinking there's no way that Russia can hang on pommel horse. They don't have that potential of scoring in the 15s like this.
15.366. Hey, Tim, the Russians have scored in a 14 and in the 13 range already. So their expression tells you all you need to know about how they have that sinking feeling.
And Danny can be better than he was in the first day of competition. This was the one apparatus that he was most disappointed about.
Remember, this is the routine that made one of his childhood dreams come true, being the U.S. national all-around champion just a couple of months ago. Big release. Very nice. Here comes another one. Little bit clunky on that, but another release right here. Great work. Now maybe his most exciting skill comes right here. Watch this. Oh, he didn't do it. Took it out of the routine, which is probably a smart choice.
And he sticks it. So Team USA does what they can do.
Well, that was 2 events, parallel bars and high bar. 6 phenomenal exercises. It's a full twisting reverse heck, very difficult. And this is what you gotta love, right?
This was beautiful.
An exclamation mark. Bam, stick that landing. Team USA, you got at least a bronze.
Nothing really went perfect. Pommel horse was a sick fight. Greens was sick. T-bars was just dirty today. And high bar, what a big home. Wow. Yeah. Wow, guys.
Awesome. Great job, guys.
Got everybody. That's sick. Oh, man. With this team, that was one collective effort like I've never seen before. That was incredible. Everyone, like Kevin always says, Let's be thankful that we just did that. That was awesome. I don't know what's going to happen. That was freaking sweet.
That was great.
Jonathan Horton hosting the post-game show for Team USA.
I'm never going to forget this.
I don't give up. Not in football, not in life.
A dramatic conclusion for the men's team final in the 011 World Championships. Japan will close it out on the high bar. You couldn't make it any better. Kazuhito Tanaka to start things off. Japan trying to win their first gold since 1978. Did they just let go here, Tim? Let it all hang out?
No question about it. That's what they should do, and that is what they're going to do. They are fabulous on high bar. They have really kind of figured out some of those main release moves a little bit better than just about anybody.
China's on floor.
So remember, Japan was just 6/10 in back of China coming into this final round. And this is their clean and conservative gymnast on this event.
Almost a very controlled looking routine, very exact.
But great.
But great. Important stuck landing. Had a 14-8 in the first day of competition. Should be better.
Now China huddling up. It hasn't been their best day, but they've avoided the major mistake. The kind that can knock you out.
And you know, China's next two guys, this is what makes people go a little bit crazy. This guy, he's the current world champion. The next guy up, he's the current Olympic champion on floor. So
that's been pretty consistent with most of the events that they've been on today. World and Olympic champions all around.
Very solid. He gets a lot of his extra tense in start value by combining elements together. Like that one right there. Everything's done in combination, gives him more points.
Routines are exhausting.
Beautiful triple full hop on the landing.
That will put some pressure on the Japanese men, won't it?
Without a question.
Kazuhiro Tanaka's score, 15.141.
Respectable, but really they are looking for the big numbers from their next two gymnasts. The younger Tanaka and Uchimura.
First up, Yasuki Tanaka.
I have to wonder how he's feeling.
Well, it's all set up for them.
Yeah. Yep. Remember, he is the gymnast that landed on his head in qualifying. Reduced to just 2 events in the team finals. Beautiful.
Oh.
And I would say that right there does it. China has one easy routine left to go, and with that fall, yeah, that was devastating. A little bit confused as to how to even get started again. He had such high hopes coming into these championships, as did the entire Japanese Federation. They had said that this is the guy that can take us over the top and help us to defeat Team China. Well, you have a fall like that on floor, you're certainly nowhere near at 100%.
Now, Japan has to be careful here. Russia has put up 2 14s and a 13, meaning the United States is in the bronze medal position right now. Japan is heading in the wrong direction. And this could come down to tenths either way. Zhang Chenglong, 15.4. A team effort by Team China. Now, you think this is
a walk in the park for him. He is really good on floor. He's an Olympic gold medalist, and he's just incredible on this event, and it's easy for him. And it's hard to fall off the floor, you know?
And when you say easy, he scored 15-7 for the first day.
Difficult tumbling run, makes it look easy. Really, he has 2 tumbling passes remaining, and he just has to survive. That's it. And China wins the Team World Championship gold. Super hard, small step back.
Well, he's done walking in the park and now can go over and get his gold medal, unless something just ridiculously crazy happens over on the Japanese high bar.
Showing a little more spirit than they did in the first day.
And it comes down to their big star. It's amazing how the draw worked out here today.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, I said it earlier, and he really is. He's like a gymnastics god, but I don't think he can even pull that off. And he's going to do some major releases, and just watch how he opens his body on them.
And floats down onto the bar.
Gorgeous. Beautiful. It's like painting a perfect picture. Everything is exactly how it should be. Here's another one.
Oh!
And the mighty Casey has struck out.
Yeah, that was a Superman skill.
I can't even believe it.
Just flew beyond the bar.
I can't even believe it. This tap just takes him too far over the bar, and
Yeah.
this is
Like,
yeah, it's, you know,
did he even
wow.
touch it?
And I'll tell you what, you know, that fall, that's a 1.5 point fall right there, unless he decides to repeat this element. And it looks like he's not going to, so that's going to take a 1.5 points off of Team Japan's total right there. I know maybe he is going to repeat it right here. He is. And done impeccably. And this is to protect the silver, because
Smart.
I don't think he could have gotten the score he needed without that last release skill redone. Oh, jeez.
A little tease of what might have been. Does he get the total value back by repeating it?
He does, because When you miss the bar like that, you've done nothing. All you incur are deductions.
This is going to be the 10th championship for the Chinese men. And some respect for Team USA and Team Japan. Japan will hold on to the silver medal, and Team USA comes back to get on the podium for bronze. Interviews in the final standings after this. It's definitely a bronze medal worth celebrating for the men representing gymnastics from the United States. Here's Jonathan Horton, one of their team leaders, on what happened today.
I'm extremely proud of the team. The guys did awesome, and that's what we're all about, fighting to the end. It wasn't a perfect day for Team USA, even though P-bars and high bar was pretty perfect for us. I just can't begin to tell you, how proud I am to be a part of this team. I'm just, we have what it takes to be the best team in the world. We know it. And I think the rest of the world just saw it. And we're going to go home. We're going to continue to work harder. And I can't wait to get back in the gym and keep training, because we are so amped up and excited. This medal right here means so much to us. And just to be on the awards podium at the World Championships, winning a medal, I can't be more excited for the guys, my brothers that were standing next to me.
Well, China didn't always look like they were destined for a gold medal, but they get their 10th. Japan fell apart on the high bar, then the United States. And just out of the podium picture is the story of Russia. That's a tough spot to finish. It's time now for the Subway Fresh Take replay. And Tim and Elfie, we take you back to Danelle Leyva on the high bar. One of the high moments for Team USA.
Absolutely. And this was the 6th awesome routine in a row for Team USA.
And this is his strength. This is what he wanted to show the world, what he's capable of doing, and why this team is on the rise.
What he's got is one of the most diverse routines in the world. He actually didn't do everything he was capable of in this exercise. And with this routine right here, and with Uchimura's fall on the high bar, Team USA was 1/10 of a point back from the silver medal.
And with this high bar, his stepfather and coach, Yin Alvarez, went a little bit crazy. The U.S. national champion now has a world championship medal around his neck.
We're happy about the bronze. We're definitely not satisfied, though. There's a difference. Like I said, we are very happy. We're world medalists. How many people can say that? But definitely not satisfied. We're always striving for more.
Happy but not satisfied. A 6-man team of John Horton, John Orozco, Alex Nadur, Jake Dalton, Danelle Leyva, and Stephen Legendre combined to win a bronze medal at the 2011 World Championships. But there'll be one less player at the Olympics in London, which take place starting next July. Who will the survivors be? We'll be following along with you here on Universal Sports. With Elfie Schlegel and Tim Daggett, I'm Al Trautwig. That's the men's team final story in Tokyo, Japan.